Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. You know when you see that billboard, it's because it's time for Just Kidz Emergency. And this morning, we have Dr. Joanne Paul joining us on set yet again. Welcome back, Dr. Paul.
It's wonderful to be here, man. It's great. It's great. Always fun. The guys love you guys. They love coming here.
Really?
Yeah, they do. They always
appreciate that. We appreciate that.
They
so
find the
very much.
vibes are cool.
Yeah. Nice, man. People have been telling me that on the road for the last 2 days.
That's true. That's true.
So I appreciate it a lot. Now, this morning we're talking about common questions parents ask when they come to the pediatric emergency.
Well, before we go there, I mean, I wanted to just say thanks for now because we actually feel very at home here, but also you realize over the past it's been about, what, 8 weeks? About 2 or 3 months now. We've been coming, and it's really our chance to give back to the community. We want to give back to the parents to say, here, what, we're giving a part of us to give you some extra information. Yeah. And today, that's why I thought today could be like a sub-segment in a segment.
Okay.
And where we discuss about questions and, common questions they want to ask. So, yeah.
All right. Have you seen a difference in terms of how people come into the emergency room? Do they come a little bit more prepared now that we've been doing these segments and these sessions?
They do. I must admit, they do. They come prepared and they come with questions, and they also have joint responsibility. They say, here, what, I want to know everything about my child. Talk to me, doc. It's really great. It's much better, yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, we help them a little bit more. So what are some of the questions that people come in? When they come in, they ask, let's start with fever.
Right.
Because that'd be a common symptom that people might say, all right, my child spiking a little bit, I'm kind of concerned about it.
Yeah.
What's the first thing that they should do if your child has fever?
But the interesting thing is, right, I love parents, I love children. This is why I do this job in terms of pediatric emergency. But I think most parents presume what they want to have it where their child never gets fever.
I mean,
yeah, of course. You want your child to be totally well. But the thing is that your child will. It's not if will get fever. It's just
part of the process.
It's just part of the process, right?
Yeah.
First of all, I think we mentioned before, from 0 to 6 months, you have all the antibodies from your mother, so you're all good. But from 6 months to about 5, 6 years old, your immune system it's immature. It's not very strong.
Yeah.
So you will get a virus. So once parents accept that and don't go, oh, my child has fever, it will happen. That's the first thing.
Yeah.
And the second thing is that don't panic. Fever, I want them to think about 2 things. How to treat the fever and why. Is why about the fever and the time frame. Those 3 things. How to treat, why, and how long. So in terms of how to treat, easy. Once you don't panic about it, it's like, all right, my child has a viral illness. I can do my thing. Just know that you can give paracetamol or ibuprofen. It's fine.
Any age?
At any age, like above 6 months is fine. Even younger, sometimes you give it to 3 months old, fine. Okay. But I would recommend above 6 months, right? The thing is, though, that everything has side effects. Paracetamol, if you give too much, it causes stuff in terms of liver.
Oh.
Yeah, liver issues. If you give ibuprofen too much for too long, so don't just go like, oh, let me pop everything.
Just drug them up.
Yeah, no, that can affect the kidneys. So what you want to do is always do things in moderation. So for the Panadol, if you want to, paracetamol, same thing. You can give it, we usually recommend a hybrid. You give each of them every 8 hours, be alternate. So every 4 hours, you give a different one, whatever is the dosage for your child's age and weight, and therefore the fever is kept under control because it's every 4 hours. So it's now 8 o'clock, give some paracetamol, and 12 o'clock, get some ibuprofen, and then at 4 o'clock, some paracetamol. So I don't overdose any one of them, and I do it for about 2 or 3 days, right?
Okay.
That's one. Don't go for don't be like a whole week, I'm still giving my child stuff, right? That's number 1. Number 2, the thing about the fever is why. So it's not about the fever by itself, it's what's causing it. You know it's going to be a virus, but it might be something else. So what do, you look at, is my child nose runny? Am I having them coughing? Is the common cold? Or are they pulling their ears? Is it an infection? Or they saying, I have a sore throat. They'll be like, well, I'm not going to eat. No. They're crying, and they seem to be, whenever you give them something, they're crying some more. That might be the cause of it. Or they're breathing fast. Or if they have abdominal pain, it might be something there. You think about what it could be. Oh, if their urine smells funny. So if it smells a bit off. So usually when they come in, we ask them all these questions. So before that, you don't even have to come in just because we love you guys coming in, right? But the whole thing is to empower the parent. And so what you do is check to see. And if you think it's a normal virus because you're so unpanicked and you're so cool. I'm like, you're the coolest parent out. You know that this would last for about 2 to 3 days, fine.
All right.
The key thing though is the time. So it's the treat, the why, and the time. If it's like 4 days, that's when
you can start panicking.
Yeah, that's when you say, no, this is not good, right? Now, people often ask me too, if it's really high, viruses can also cause to be very high. So that isn't really a matter. Now, if in the first 3 days you find a child is looking a bit cargo, still don't say, well, no, I'm not going to go with. Just take them to Just Kidz, right?
Yeah.
But if the key thing is 4 days, if at 4 days of fever, you're now thinking it's a dengue fever, all the bad stuff now, the bacterial stuff. So at 4 days, if your child's still having fever, come somewhere.
Right.
Go somewhere. Go by your GP, pediatrician, Just Kidz, somewhere, Mount Hope, whatever it is.
Yeah.
And the last time frame is 2 weeks. So 0 to 3 days, nothing. Above 4, bacterial or something else, but above 2 weeks, we're in bad zone here.
Yeah.
If your child having a fever for 2 weeks and above, that is like real matador red flag. That says leukemia. It says all the bad things.
Yeah.
So if you find it's been going on for so long, not interrupted, don't say, well, no, I have to, it's Ash Wednesday, it's Valentine's Day, it's Pancake Day.
Yes.
Oh, by chance, also Happy Valentine's Day. Yeah, for me
Same
too,
to you.
yeah. So if it's like that, don't be like, no, that is red flag. 2 weeks,
Yeah.
come somewhere.
Tell me something. The idea, I mean, growing up, you would hear about growing fever.
Yeah.
Is that a thing? Is it just because you're growing, you get sick?
No. It was
It's not a
probably like
thing.
some viruses that you get. And then
But it was like the 2 to 3 day one, so they
Right.
saying, well, yeah, that go pass.
that will happen, right? Is that they'll sprout up. They'll have like a little growth spurt.
Yeah.
And then they'll be like, well, you had fever and you're growing, so
Yeah.
it's growing fever. Yeah. No. So there's nothing there. It's just viruses.
All
yeah.
right. So tell me
Yeah.
about vitamins when it comes to children. Should we be giving children vitamins? At what age do we start?
Well, I want to say categorically that I have no issues with vitamins. So the vitamin companies don't come and tell me anything, right? But I must say that the key thing is that you don't need vitamins. So the answer
Like in
is,
life generally, or
in life generally, you
For
do
real?
not- yeah, everybody's like, oh, I want to be optimized. If your child has a medical issue or has something where they have some supplement issues. So for instance, they've seen a specialist and they say, well, you need this, fine. Or you need some iron or something else. But if your child does not need anything, is going to get all the vaccines, going to their doctor and have a nice growth and development, and you're feeding your child a proper diet, right? That's a key thing. If
That
you
is
decide,
key.
that's a key thing.
Yeah.
If you decide to give your child broccoli for the entire day because you want to be all vegan, obviously,
Yeah.
no. If you want to give your child shrimp nuggets or chicken nuggets every day, obviously no. But if I'm giving my child a balanced diet, vegetables, some fruit, some meat, the whole combination, you do not need vitamins. If you wish to, that's your choice. The vitamins just peed out. But really and truly, you do not need. Just especially if I'm having a normal diet and I'm playing in the sun. Obviously, if my the child is on the console all the time doing stuff, not getting that nutrients, play, exercise, vitamin C, vitamin D from the sun, and all my other stuff, I'm good. No vitamins. All right.
Okay.
Unless you want to.
Noted.
Yeah.
So plenty fruits, plenty balanced diet, and plenty exercise and play.
Yeah. I don't do vitamins. I don't. I try to make sure and eat good.
Yeah.
Beetroot, all that provisions, all that stuff. Do that kind of thing.
I mean,
yeah.
sometimes it's a little difficult to get them children to eat some of them things, but that's a whole other story
But
altogether.
you see,
You have to
that's the
find
thing.
creative ways to do it.
Not just that. You so like it's a compromise, right? So I usually say it's a power thing. As a 2-3-year-old child, I'm like, no, I use food, and not me, but I mean the child will use food as a power thing. So if they refuse, what will happen? The parent will be like, oh my God, so they get a reaction, right? So what I usually recommend is that have the shared power. Tell the child, okay, we'll have what you want, and you'll have what I want. You combine it. So that you don't have to be fighting down. It can't be where you tell the child, you're going to eat everything I tell you to.
Yeah.
That gives the child no power, so they'll find power to refuse, all right?
Yeah.
So compromise it.
Noted. All right, so some more common questions. If your child is vomiting, what should I use?
Right. So I usually tell parents also, because they think that, this child and then them, right? The child's a younger version of you.
In so many ways. So many ways.
Just like your parents are older versions, right? They'll have different things, right? So if you're vomiting, don't be like, oh, my child. If you are vomiting, you'll be like, you know, it's something that's inside of you in that tract, and exactly. You see, same page, right? It needs to come out. So I'm not saying don't be like, oh, don't be nonchalant, but don't be like, I want to stop this vomiting. You really want to get it out. It's actually the body, the GI tract saying something in the stomach, I want to get out. And you just know that the stomach is now very irritable. So what do you want to do? If it's mild to moderate and it's a few episodes per day, once they've had the vomit, just try to test the stomach a little bit, small amounts, frequently, like every half an hour. So just to let it go. Because if you give too much, you'll just be like,
and vomit again.
See, right. And of course, the key is again, the whole thing I look at is the red flags of it. If they're vomiting seasoning green, bad. Now they'll vomit like a little yellow, a little green, but seasoned green, like green seasoning.
Like bile.
Like bile, like you make, green seasoning.
Be sure.
I hope so. So that's bad.
Is it the same with diarrhea? Because you mentioned the vomiting being it wants to come out. Is it the same with diarrhea just coming on the next side?
Same with diarrhea. So the vomiting last red flag is blood. So if it's blood or green vomit, it's bad.
Okay.
Same thing with diarrhea. I mean, today definitely we're in the zone, man. Same thing with diarrhea. It wants to come out, and so the key thing is to rehydrate them. If you're having diarrhea, once you have a large one, try to have it when you replace those salts because you're losing salts there. Salts and fluid.
Okay.
So therefore, like things like Pedialyte, G-Salt is good. Gatorade, you have to water it down. It's too concentrated. And coconut water, we love our coconut water. It actually has too much potassium for the child. So if you're going to do that, just water it down half and half also. But those are fine. But once you have that diarrhea, replace with that. Of course, diarrhea, if it's also, green is fine. If it's blood, or if it's red currant jelly, that's bad. Or if the child is bending their legs up with every diarrhea stool and in pain, so they're going like you can see like if they're getting something twisted, they're lying, they're lethargic, and they're in pain, bending their legs up with the diarrhea, that says bad also. All right. But I usually, in terms of the vomiting aspect, I hate Gravol because I don't want to have the stop thing, right? And now, if your child is going to fly or go on a boat and you want to give Gravol, fine. Gravol, it sedates you, it makes you sleepy, and it doesn't really help with the vomiting. Let it get it out, right? Yeah. The same for diarrhea, Imodium, all those sort of things. Do not give it because you give it. What happens? The stuff stays
inside.
Doesn't make any sense. Yeah. But it all through, your main goal is to make sure your child is optimized. And if not, if you need some help, come to us, and they might need some IV fluids and some other stuff, but definitely do not stop the vomiting or diarrhea.
Before we move on to the next thing quickly, the watering of the coconut water and stuff like that, that's up to what age?
I would say until about maybe 7, 8 years old. Yeah, even by that time you're good enough, you're a big child. But before that, no, it's too strong, definitely.
All right, noted. Yeah. Now, one more thing. I mean, we're almost out of time this morning already. Imagine that.
Wow.
But I want to talk about the other end of it. We talk about vomiting, we talk about diarrhea. What about constipation?
Yeah, constipation is my major peeve. It's not like it is because again, it's the same thing where we say, well, that child is just a different thing. If you as an adult, you know your bowel. You know, all of us have different bowels, right? We might poop like maybe once a day, or it might be twice a day, or it might be every 2 days, and that's okay. So the child is doing that, that's okay. But if for instance, they have a sluggish bowel, they're not really doing stuff as they should, and it's backed up. The first thing is, train the bowel. Decide what time, right? You want to have that bowel action. That's the first thing. If the bowel knows, it's a brain to bowel thing, right? The mind-body connection. So most of the time, the bowel is confused. It's the typical thing. There's no times where like the bowel starts to talk to the brain and say, okay, I'm ready now. And the brain says, no, hold up. So then after a while,
you can't do this here right now. You can't do this now.
The child is playing. The bowel says, I'm ready now. And the child says, no. So obviously, after a while, you got to hold this tool up. The key thing, find a time in the day, morning or nighttime or wherever, where there'll be bowel time. And make it fun. I'm not saying be like playing board games in the toilet, right? But it has to be where it's a nice time, the bowel is enjoying itself, so therefore doing a poo is actually a good thing. That's one. And if you think that there's a backup there, 12 hours before that time, have the extra fiber. There's Benny fiber, there's Metamucil, there are prunes. Have your fruits on, have your fluids on. But the key thing is to train that bowel, because most of the time we give them crap to eat. We don't give them fiber. We don't train the bowel. And then we say, oh my God. And of course, with constipation, it can't be solved today. It is the same as us, right?
Yeah.
If you're constipated, give it about a week or so, but you're going to go it slowly, train it, and have fun with it.
Would you recommend a lot of water at that point as well?
Yeah, I say, I mean, we really presume in Trinidad that we can handle it. We actually usually a bit dehydrated because there's so much hot sun there. So for children and elderly, you presume there's always dehydration. So lots of water, and not fruit juice or anything. Just give your water, your fruits, and let that child be as they were a few years ago. When you were a child, have that child be have the same fun as when you were a child. Definitely.
Nice.
Right?
Dr. Paul, let me thank you so much for joining us. I think we'll put a pause here and we'll continue. I mean, I know we're going to have another segment again next week.
We love coming here with you guys. All right?
We're going to continue the conversation, especially about the common questions that parents have, because I think it's really important to go through some of them so that people can be more prepared when they finally reach the Just Kidz to say, all right, we have an emergency, and they come prepared and saying, all right, I know X, Y, and Z is the case.
The place to be.
The place to be. So thank you so much for joining us, Dr. Paul. Enjoy the rest of your day and happy Valentine's to you.
Thank you very much.
Guys, we take a quick break and we come back and we take your phone calls to wrap up this morning. So stay tuned. It's Now Morning Show. Be right back.